Excellencies, members of the CU Board of Trustees, guests, colleagues, students, on behalf of the School of Public Policy, I'm privileged to welcome you to today's discussion. Our guest is Michael Williams. He is a distinguished visiting fellow at the Royal Institute for International Affairs, also known as Chatham House, and the governor of London School of Oriental and African Studies. He's also the international trustee of the BBC and has served in the UK House of Lords.
It's a great privilege and pleasure to be here in the Karl Popper Hall. I'm old enough to remember being a student and going to the great man's lectures in the LSE, something that one stays with one. On December the 17th, 2010, Mohamed Bouaziz, a 26-year-old fruit stall holder in the Tunisian town of Sidi Bouzid, set himself alight in protest at the constant harassment and humiliation he had faced at the hands of local officials and police. Mohamed Bouaziz's death 2 weeks later from his severe injuries was in fact the catalyst for a wave of revolt that has swept the Arab world. From his native Tunisia, the flames of rebellion have spread from the Maghreb to the shores of the Indian Ocean. It is fair to say that no country, from Morocco to Oman, has been untouched by this extraordinary political tumult. Now in the third year of the Arab revolt, we are likely to see an uncertainty which will last not for months but for years to come. Even in countries like Egypt, Tunisia and Libya, where revolutions have been successful, establishing a new order is fraught with difficulty and sometimes with continuing disorder and even violence. Elections in Egypt in 2010 and in Turkey, which a few years ago were talking about, no problems on our borders. Part of the great propaganda of Hezbollah for some years now has been that we are part of the axis of resistance. But who in 1988 would have predicted an independent Bosnia-Herzegovina, or an independent Estonia, and an independent South Sudan? So what does this mean? I think what it means is that these historical processes are something I think that the Arab world will not be immune from. Why should it be?
What we see also in the Middle East is a battle, a fight between the two sides over church and state. Who will call the shot? The church, the religious, or religion, or the state, the political state?
What about the role of the outsiders, particularly in Egypt at those critical moments, and particularly the United States? And number two, is it really true that the passions that were unleashed that we call the Arab Spring were entirely domestic in nature, or were there other forces at work?
I think Mubarak would have fallen anyway. I think President Obama realized that. But certainly when it was clear, once the signal had come from the Obama administration, then I think Mubarak's days were numbered.
I do wonder why the United States, when things looked somewhat stable a few years ago, went into regime change. And when things are in full movement at the moment, are accepting the status quo, namely the status quo of an understanding with the Islamic Party.
Where these revolutions are going in an economic system sense, because there seems to be as much confusion about economy as there is about constitutionalism.
People want to visit Egypt because of the glory of your history and the attractions and the culture and so on, but at the moment they're not. And that's a big economic blow. Now when I look at Syria, Egypt's problems pale by comparison. I think one of the town's most affected cities is